husband and I moved into this house about 3 months ago. Since then, the dogs have been outside. So even though we didn't really like the way they were treated, there really wasn't much we felt like we could do until June. In June in South Carolina, it started getting really hot, like 90s, over 100. My mother-in-law stayed at the house while my husband and I were in Charleston.
But whilst she was out of town, her mother-in-law had enough.
That weekend, she called animal control. They asked if the dogs had shelter, and she was like, yeah, the dogs have shelter, and animal control was basically like, oh, well, we can't do anything then. Then today hits, and with the humidity, it felt like 103. And I looked over at the dogs, and they were just panting. My husband immediately gets on the phone, and he starts calling animal control. We couldn't get a hold of anybody.
They were not giving up and were about to go a little more extreme.
So he calls 911 and he tells the cops the situation. Cops show up maybe 20 or 30 minutes later. The cop goes in through the front, comes out the backyard, and the dogs run over to him, and we see the dogs go inside, and we're like, oh my gosh, thank God the dogs are gonna be inside.
But that was not going to last.
The cops leave, the dogs go right back outside. After the cops leave, they call my husband. Basically say, oh, well, the dogs looked fine. There was a water bowl and they had shelter in a doghouse. So there's nothing we can do.
These cops did not understand. Hot weather can have scary consequences for your pets.
And my husband got really upset, and he basically was like, do you have a dog? If you had a dog, would you be leaving your dog out in this heat? And the cop just said, just ignore it. At this point, we've called animal control and we've called the cops, and both of those places have decided that, well, they have shelter and they have water, and they're not going to do anything about it.
This is a disgrace. And the longer the situation goes on, the more risk it poses to the dogs.
These dogs clearly aren't being looked after. We didn't even see the water. We saw their doghouse, but this doghouse is outside, and it's 103 degrees outside, so I can't even imagine how hot it must be in that doghouse, which is why they're not taking shelter in the doghouse.
And then we decided to get more people involved. So we contacted our HOA. We sent HOA an email with the attachment of the video that you all have seen and a description of the situation. HOA decided that they would also contact animal control and get animal control to come out and check on the dogs. Animal control told our HOA that they were going to come out the next day and check on the dogs. And since that day, we haven't seen the dogs outside in the middle of the day anymore. We still see these dogs, but typically only in the evenings or in the early morning now. This is great news. All we wanted was for the dogs to be safe and not have to deal with any heat illness. We're really happy that the dogs are in a better place right now. If the situation gets worse, I will contact animal control again or the police.